What's going on, guys? Welcome back. NFL commentary for you. Do me a favor, like button, subscribe button, criticism in the comment section, Twitter, shutdown safety is my username. Fresh off having watched the NFL's latest iteration of the Pro Bowl, Team Irvin 49, Team Rice 27. This may have been the worst football product, I don't want to limit it to NFL or Pro Bowls, that I've ever seen. Okay, something has to change here. A couple years ago, Roger Goodell came out and said that, the games really had to improve and live up to the standards of NFL football. And I don't know what he's watching, but tonight may have been one of the worst football products ever produced. At a point in the game, Team Irvin actually had 21 unanswered points until Landry had a beautiful touchdown catch midway through the fourth. But this is in a game that usually hinges on being background noise. And at the end, it seemed like even the players, with like a minute 40 seconds to go, were just content to knee out the game and just have it end. And, there were some things that were meant to spice up the game. We saw John Gruden go back down to the sidelines. We saw Odell Beckham Jr. in the secondary. Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett had some offensive snaps. But that doesn't add any real substance. It's kind of flair, okay? Bennett was actually handed a touchdown with just under 2 minutes to go until we were told that the play had been blown dead by what was just a glorified brushing of another player. You can't have a competitive all-star game in the NFL. The sport is not conducive to it. And there are some great things about the Pro Bowl right now. I love the fact that the players can come down, have their family. You saw a lot of children on the sideline. You see a lot of fan interaction. Although there weren't many fans there, this may have been one of the worst attended football games I've ever seen. And certainly NFL needs to look at the embarrassment of the attendance of this game because it's certainly reflected on TV. So there are some good things. And again, you need that loose atmosphere, that uncompetitive atmosphere to do that. You've also got a record number of players that turned down the game this year. And it makes you wonder if those players just don't want to deal with the hassle, the travel. We were told during the broadcast, and I believe it firmly to be true, that much of the money the players win actually just goes to paying for this vacation, essentially, that they've taken their family on. But how many players don't want to, risk the injury? And what is going to happen with Tyler Eifert, who was injured tonight, if that turns out to be something serious? And we certainly hope it's not. But what if it is? How is that going to impact the future of the Pro Bowl? Because certainly you don't want the NFL having one of their stars hurt in a game that really, for all intents and purposes, is meaningless. Even mentioned in the broadcast was the tackling in this game. The first half you saw some decent tackling. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie was actually almost apologetic for a hit he put on Chris Ivory, as if he lost himself in the moment. But it slowly devolved to where we almost saw scrum tackling to stop forward progress, which is similar to what you see in practices, in scrimmages. And I think part of that fed the confusion of the aforementioned Michael Bennett touchdown we talked about. The players drafting teams has lost its allure. They either have to figure out something else, whether it's a skills competition, like we saw if you look up ESPN Battle. ESPN Battle did a great job of providing NFL skills competition. Similar to what you'll see rookies go through, except obviously, modified a little bit to show a lot of the skill these players have. Have a one-handed catch contest, if you will. Something that's going to be watchable. Do something like, the Major League Baseball did. Have the All-Star game have an impact on maybe who receives the ball in the Super Bowl as opposed to the coin toss. Or send this game over to England rather than regular season games. I don't know. But I do know that I don't want to see a product like that put out by the NFL again. Because that's not what I expect from the National Football League in terms of a competitive spirit of football game. Love to know what you guys think about this. Appreciate you checking it out. I'll be back in the week with more content.